Destruction has no fate for permanent escape. Same old reasons you escape, the same old reasons you intend to die tonight. The same old reasons you escape, the same reason you will never fly. Let it fade, let it break. I am still right here, I am still right here. Let it fade, let it break. I am still right here, I am still right here for you. I'm still right here, I'm still right here for you.
Good evening and welcome to the Pocono Mountains and Pocono Raceway, where we head to you tonight live here with the Sim500 Ford Entertainment Group K&N series on the Sim Racing Network. John Mushton taking the night off, feeling under the weather, so we wish John the best if he's out there watching, and we look forward to having him back in the booth next weekend. But joining me in the booth tonight is our producer, 2 jobs, 1 night, Mitch Rolo. How you doing tonight, Mitch?
Doing all right, Ben. It's good to get up here into the booth a little bit. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge pushing the buttons as well as calling the race with you, but I'm looking forward to the challenge, and it's going to be lots of fun.
I'm sure you can do it. We're all professionals here.
I don't know about that. You might be, but I'm, I'm just a rookie over here, so.
It's going to be a great race tonight. This is the first super speedway we've headed to since Daytona, but just because they're the same length, Mitch, that doesn't mean they are any close to the same driving style. Pocono, 3 different turns, and they all drive differently amongst themselves. So these drivers almost, I like to call Pocono almost like a road course, because it really is. You have different braking marks for each turns, and so yeah, sometimes some of these guys are even shifting tonight in down in turn 3. So it's really a fun, challenging racetrack that these guys are faced with tonight.
Yeah, and definitely, Ben, and with this place, you definitely see maybe guys who would usually dominate the 1.5 miles or even the short tracks for that matter. We might have a little bit of a different crowd up front today, just because, like you said, it's more like a road course, and so we might have some road course ringers, so to speak, up front tonight.
And we could, as we get set to go racing here. Let's take a look tonight at the GoPro track facts in 2.5 miles here at Pocono, and the banking ranges from almost flat down in turn 3 till we go to the tunnel turn over in turn number 2. the fastest turn on the racetrack. That has about 9 degrees of banking. And then down in turn number 1, the most degrees of banking you'll see tonight. And there you go again, Mitch. Every turn drives differently, and it really makes it fun to watch because some of these guys are real good, say in turns 1, and then the other guys beat them in turn 2, and then they beat them back in turn 3. So it's a big accordion all the way around the 2.5 mile, watching who's better in each one of these turns.
Absolutely, and you're going to see, maybe guys who will close up going into the corner may not be better off because you look at how long the straightaways are here, Ben, and you definitely want to have that good run off of the corner. So we're going to see lots of different strategies and lines tonight, but I think definitely the big thing here is you got to have that drive off.
That you do. And the longest front straightaway in pretty much all of NASCAR is located right here at Pocono. The track sits just under about 80,000 people and opened back in the 70s. Tonight's race, Mitch, 60 laps. It doesn't seem like a lot, but again, 2.5 miles around this joint, that's equals 150 laps on tap for, or 150 miles rather, on tap for us here tonight. And if these drivers have to get down onto pit road at any time under green, it's also challenging to do that, Mitch. Not only getting down onto pit road, but getting off. You have that very tight merge lane that you have to obeyed by all the way almost into turn number 1.
Yeah, guys are definitely out there going to be careful with getting off of pit road tonight. They got to be paying attention to where that commitment line is coming off of pit road because if they miss it, that's I believe a drive-through penalty or even a stop and go penalty. So definitely going to have to be leery of that tonight to make sure they don't get that penalty.
John, we want to congratulate Byron Daly on his win last week at Homestead. So far, he's got it second quick here tonight in qualifying. So with that, we'll take a minute to thank our sponsor of the series, the Ford Entertainment Group. Be sure to get up with Jeffrey Ford on iRacing. You can send him a PM. Find him on Facebook. All you have to do is search Ford Entertainment Group. You see his email and phone number on screen as well if you prefer those methods of contacts. Jeff is giving away a computer capable of virtual reality or 3 screens to the driver of most completed laps at the end of this season. Ford Entertainment Group, sponsor of the Sim500 Ford Entertainment Group K&N Series.
That's a pretty cool prize, I got to say.
That it is. And that leads us into grid time, which means it's time to drop the green flag and go racing here at the Tricky Triangle as we are setting you up for race number 5 here tonight on the Sim Racing Network. So glad you've tuned in. Let's run them through the starting lineup. Mitch, starting inside of row number 1 is set number 5 of Anthony DeBarro. He sets quick time over last week's winner, Byron Daly.
Starting third tonight in the number 7, that's going to be Bobby Terrell. And outside of him is going to be the points leader coming into tonight, the number 66 of Steve Sheehan.
Nelson Rivera proved his practice time by 0.6 of a second in qualifying. He is second in points tonight. He'll start inside of row number 3. To his outside, it'll be Nigel Standish, who continually gets to get better and better over the course of the season.
Starting in the number 7 position is that number 20 of Chad Coleman. We saw Chad running up quite a bit last week. And out to the outside of him, also another front runner from last week, is that number 88 of Jason Jacoby.
David Comstock, a chance to win it last week. Pit strategy didn't play into his hands. He'll be looking for redemption tonight here at Pocono. And Pedro Mejica rounds out the top 10 as the rest of the grid scrolls across your screen. And we begin the ever so long pace lap here at Pocono Raceway. And we get set to go racing. You know, we election day here in the United States. It's not red versus blue on track tonight. It is these guys versus not only the 35 competitors around them, Mitch, but this racetrack as well. You got to be patient here in the opening laps of this one.
if you try and rush things on this track, Ben, it is going to eat you up. You got to be careful. One wrong move and you're going to be in that wall in that tunnel turn. It's not hard to do here. So definitely these guys are going to have to be careful, especially in the tunnel turn, but not only that, but like you said, racing around other guys. They're going to have to be aware of who's around them and who's racing for what, and they just got to make it to the end here, Ben.
Had to do. This is the circa 2011 version of this racetrack. We have the paved version, but with the throwback series, the admins and race officials choose to go to the older version of this racetrack. It's bumpy, it's narrow, and it's going to provide for some good racing here tonight. Before we go green, the inaugural online Snowball Derby just around the corner, December 7th through the 9th. Be sure to sign up at the Sim Racing Network /Snowball-Derby.
That's going to be quite the show, Ben. There's already lots of signups for it. I'm super excited for that event. I don't know about you.
As am I. It will be broadcasted live right here on the Sim Racing Network. Now live, you're watching Sim500, Ford Entertainment Group, K&N Series, set to go racing. Here at the Tricky Triangle, it's race number 5. DeBarro and Daly lead us to the green flag. 35 drivers, 2 by 2. We are underway in the Pocono Mountains.
Anthony DeBarro with a decent jump, but Daly hanging right with him here, just on his rear quarter panel, going down into turn number 1.
They'll race side by side for the lead, heading into turn number 1. We'll see which lane has the advantage. DeBarro going to slide up in front of Daly. Daly looks to turn it down off turn number 2 to the inside already. Daly says, "You're not going to lead lap number 1, Anthony. I'm going to try and take it from you," as they'll race side by side heading into the tunnel turn.
Dead even going down the back straightaway here at Pocono, heading down into that tunnel turn, flying in there, and DeBarro's going to settle in behind Daly. Daly to the lead here at Pocono.
Short shoot, they are working now. Two back straightaways here at Pocono. The first along Bond Straight. They just went through the short shoot. Look at the different lines. DeBarro all the way up in the middle of the racetrack. Daly all the way down on the curb, and here comes the run from that outside groove. DeBarro looks to the inside, but Byron Daly leads lap number 1 here at Pocono.
And that is definitely a cool part about this track, Ben, is you're going to see guys running high, low, middle, wherever, and you're going to see stuff like that where one guy gets a huge run off the corner, but one guy's better in. So it's going to be interesting to see where these lines play out as the track rubbers in and gets hot.
So much for taking it easy the first couple laps. These guys have been battling since the drop of the green, and Daly going to be able to clear him on the outside there in turn number 1 as they head down Long Pond straightaway into the tunnel turn. They call it the tunnel turn because the tunnel entering the infield goes right underneath it. And it's a very tight turn, a fast turn, one of the fastest portions of this racetrack. Here comes DeBarro back to the rear bumper of Daly. Daly saw that outside line worked for DeBarro last go around. He takes it away from him down in turn 3 this time. DeBarro tries to bottom and not able to get that good run off the corner. We'll go back all the way to, it looks about, for the battle for 5th. Bobby Terrell leads Pedro Mejica, who started 10th, all the way up to 6th, and Jason Jacoby in a 3-car battle there.
Man, these guys are going insane this early in the race. They are not waiting for anything. They're going for it. They want to get to the front, and they want to get to the front now, Ben.
That they do. Jacoby has just had phenomenal runs all season long, but it just seems he can never complete the deal. He is either in a wreck or pit strategy messes him up, what have you. Jacoby looking for a good run tonight here at Pocono, and so far he's on the move to do just that. He's to the inside of Terrell, looking to get what will now be the 6th position as Pedro Mejica right in front of him. Started outside of row number 5, and he's all the way up to position number 5 as they got close back there in that battle for 6. Jacoby slid up in front of Terrell, and Terrell gave him the bumper.
I can't believe how hard these guys are racing this early, Ben. They're acting like it's the last lap, but I'm loving it. It's lots of fun to watch.
And it is. I'm not complaining one bit. Look at this. It looks like almost a scene from Talladega or Daytona. Terrell slid up into the Coleman machine there to number 20. That slows Coleman down on this Long Pond straightaway. These guys still race tail to nose, door to door, heading into the tunnel turn. Now this is really tricky to do, too wide. And you see Comstock backs off a little bit. The veteran driver underneath that helmet says, okay, go ahead and take it, Ryan. I'm going to back off here. I don't want to wreck us early on.
And now you see Nelson Rivera diving underneath that 42 of David Comstock. And there is the number 9 as well of Bobby Wetzel underneath the 42 of Comstock. And these guys are absolutely duking it out back here.
That they are. Now we're going to go 3 wide. How about that? Look at this. Amazing racing here at Pocono. And Rivera says, I'm fighting for a championship. Guys, you go ahead. I'm going to ride this one out for a little bit. Speaking of championship, your championship leader, Steve Sheehan, has caught, driven around Anthony DeBarro, and now is on the bumper of Byron Daly for the lead as the top 5 race tail to nose. Mitch, the draft is a big part of this race. These cars suck up really good, and that's what's keeping them all close together and providing this fantastic action as Sheehan turns it to the left and battles Daly for the lead heading into 3.
That's definitely the case, Ben. You saw it at Daytona for the first race of the season. These cars are the suck up is insane. The amount of mile an hour a guy can get on the guy ahead of him just in the straightaway here is insane. Sometimes 5 miles per hour. So definitely look for that to be a huge factor, not only early but later on in the race.
Talked about drive off. You're going to need drive off of turn number 3 if you don't want to lose 4 positions like Sheehan is to do right now. He's dropping like a rock. All on account of the one turn where he tried to make the move on the inside. You got to go to the outside, I think, down in turn 3 if you want to try and make up any ground. Look at DeBarro on the bumper of Daly heading back into the tunnel turn. Almost giving him a bump draft down Long Pond straightaway as they head into the short chute. Man, oh man, some great racing as we complete this lap. Will already be 1/10 of the way complete. 15 miles down and 135 to go.
And DeBarro wants that lead back, Ben. He's not sitting back there. He's not saving his stuff. He wants that lead back as you see Byron Daly get a little tight and then wiggly loose off the corner there. But here comes DeBarro. He dives underneath the number 08 of Byron Daly. He's going to go for the lead.
DeBarro to the inside, and that Coors Light number 5. We'll see if he can complete the pass in 1. He's going to slide up a little bit there. They're going to go door to door, toe to toe off of turn number 1, and Byron Daly going to have the position for now. DeBarro has to fall back in the line and think his thoughts over again, and see if he can make another move. Here comes Mexico behind them. Pedro Mexico to the inside of Nigel Standish. That's for the 3rd spot. Mexico started 10th in this race and all the way up to a podium position now. And
definitely, I knew he was going to be a guy to watch from the start of the race, Ben. Pedro on the service for a long time now, the iRacing service, and that guy can drive a car. Look for him to be anywhere around the front at the end of this thing. He's got a good shot to win it.
Man, oh man, these guys, one heck of a show. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is one of the best shows we've seen all season long, and we've had some great, mind you, Daly continuing to lead. He has led every lap, I do believe, since the drop of the green flag, all 8 of them, and he had an intense battle with DeBarro on the first lap to get that first lap led, and he obviously knows, Mitch, that track position key, because you get to choose what line you run, and the guy behind you has to find a way around.
That's definitely the case, Ben. And as you see here, DeBarro, I believe, is going to go in high. Daly's going to take that line away from him. See what he's doing there? He's taking the air off of the nose of DeBarro so he can't get as good of a run off the corner, and that front end slips out a little bit.
Man, oh man. Top 2, tail to nose. You go back about 3 car lengths, and you find Pedro Mexico, who is closing in on him with the draft down this long straightaway. And then you have Nigel Standish. We haven't talked much about him all season long, except for at the end of the races, Mitch. It seems he likes to hang around mid-pack at the back of the field, but always at the end of the thing we hear Standish, that Nigel Standish name, continue to pop up. And this time he's deciding to run up front for a change. He's up in the 4th position early on in this one.
Yeah, he's definitely been slow and steady, and then there at the end of in the past races, Ben. But as you said, here he is up front, riding fourth right now with Steve Sheehan right on his bumper, the points leader.
Sheehan there, and then we talked about Jason Jacoby a little bit earlier. He's closing in on the 5th spot. He's trying to maybe find a way around championship leader Sheehan. Sheehan pulls over, lets Jacoby go through down the front stretch. A good move by Sheehan there. He knows he has a pretty good margin of wiggle room heading into tonight in the championship standings. So he's not gonna risk that by battling Jacoby into the high-speed turn number 1. Up front, DeBarro again trying down low. He's got a nose on Daly as they head into the tunnel turn. This could be the move of the race. If DeBarro can get by him, he's trying to take the lead. Daly trying to fight back on the outside. They're side by side, and here comes Mahika in the 23, closing up on their rear bumpers.
And I just got to say, Byron Daly did they get tight there. But Byron Daly did an outstanding job. They're 3 wide. Unbelievable.
Daly powers off of turn number 3. DeBarro pushed up. That forced them both a little high, and Pedro Mejica says, you guys do what you want. I got a race to win here at Pocono, and he slides in the line as the top 6 now, tail to nose, racing into turn number 1.
And DeBarro on the bumper of Pedro Mejica right now. As I was saying before there, Ben, for Byron Daly to hang on the outside going through the tunnel turn with DeBarro, that was unbelievable. It's almost unheard of for that to happen.
I'd say your rookie driver, any regular driver even, has a couple seasons under their belt.
Oh, DeBarro's loose.
And DeBarro saves it down low, but he'll lose another couple of positions here. And it just seems that if you take that inside in turn number 3, it messes up your rhythm, messes up your momentum for the next 1, 2, maybe even 3 laps.
And that's definitely the case here. As you see, DeBarro slipped up, and now he is sliding backwards. He falls in behind the number 88 of Jason Jacoby, riding 5th now. So it's going to take a little bit for him to get back up to the front where he was before. And there's a battle now on the track between Jason Jacoby and the number 85 of Nigel Standish for the 3rd position.
And it is Jacoby started 8th in this racing. Oh, they get tight there. My goodness, DeBarro, a heck of a move down low to avoid the 88 machine. Jacoby had to stay off of Standish there, and now just like that, DeBarro back up into 4th as he gets around that number 88 machine in the tunnel turn. And here comes Jacoby. He closes back to the bumper of DeBarro, but I'm going to say he's seen what's been the story of this race so far. It's turn number 3 and working that high groove. You see that new patch of pavement there in turn number 3 and 4. Mitch, a little extra grip, and that's where those drivers are heading to.
That's definitely the case. You see those guys get that huge run off of 3 by riding up top, as opposed to riding down low. You can get faster into the corner, but when you're coming off the corner, it's not good being down low because that top line just gets such an unbelievable run off the corner.
And it does. Nigel Stanton, we have the first caution of the race. As I was going to mention, Nigel Standish there went low in turn 1. Not sure if he was going to try and let DeBarro go past, or if DeBarro just kind of pulled up beside him and surprised him. Nonetheless, though, first caution of the race as we try and find out who it was. Looks like it's going to be the number 40 machine of Nick Hurd with some damage on that car.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the replay here, Ben, and he just gets loose off of turn 3 and just can't gather it up and ends up going around there on the front straightaway.
So first caution of the night after 13 thrilling laps here at Pocono Raceway. I am just shocked, Mitch, that these guys have been duking it out like they have. I mean, we have seen some intense battles early on in races over the course of this season, but none like we have seen tonight. These guys are going just full on, full throttle around the tricky triangle, putting on a heck of a show for us.
Well, you know, this is my first time up in the booth, and they're giving me no shortage of things to talking about, so I'm not complaining for sure. But yeah, no, it's unbelievable racing so far tonight, Ben. These guys leaving nothing out on the track, just just giving it their all every single minute. So it's definitely cool to see, and lots of fun to watch.
14 laps down in this race. I can assure you that all the leaders head down pit road, get some fresh rubber and some fill up on the fuel. While they do that, we'll take a moment to talk about the simracingnetwork.com. If you haven't checked out our new website, do so today. You can find out all the rates, you can find out our schedule, contact us there, etc., etc. You can also give us a like on Facebook. All you have to do is search the Sim Racing Network. And if you're watching us live on YouTube right now, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you'll be notified whenever we go live from here on out. Byron Daly leads the pack of drivers down onto pit road. And these pit stops, Mitch, are going to be crucial. You cannot slide through your stop. You cannot speed because track position is everything. You want to come out with the lead here.
Definitely. You don't want to get mired back in the pack and stuck behind some slower cars. You definitely want to be out front no matter what here at Pocono, or anywhere for that matter. So definitely a lot riding on this stop right here.
Oh, and David Comstock, it looks like. No, that's Nelson Rivera, who come into the night second in the points, is a plethora of positions. He doesn't even take tires. He missed his, slid in his pit. Oh, and there's been a crash.
Oh,
Pedro
no.
Mejica.
Oh, no.
Pedro Mejica's around.
Unbelievable, Ben. Pedro Mojica was running, I believe, in the second position, and he gets spun around on pit road. That's going to mire him way back in the field. That is not good for his chances to win this race.
My, oh my, it was the... Wow, he just did it on his own there. He just hopped on the gas, and it went around with him. So Pedro Mejica, a costly mistake. That's going to mire him, like you said, way back in the field. And very lucky not to get hit again. Another instance on that on that round of pit stops was the Nelson Rivera machine. He's going to have to come back down pit road. He was too far to the left in his pit box. The crew couldn't service the car, and he'll have to come back down. He just pulled out as opposed to trying to get straight. He's have to come back down and service that machine. So just a very, very set of unfortunate events happening on this first round of pit stops here at Pocono. Under the first caution, Byron Daly beats Anthony DeBarro off pit road. We'll be back for the green flag. You're watching Sim 500 action on the Sim Racing Network.
Ever dreamed of being paid to dive? Think you can handle the heat of cooking for hundreds of brave troops? Could you deploy a sophisticated communication network in some of the remotest corners of the planet? Can you see yourself delivering essential healthcare in a state-of-the-art portable clinic? Would you like to pull off intense workouts and a paid education? Or execute a precision landing just in time to save a life? Perhaps you'd prefer to master cutting-edge electronic systems in the middle of the ocean. Dare to be extraordinary with the Canadian Armed Forces. Apply for one of over 100 full and part-time careers and acquire sought-after skills and training that will serve you everywhere. A message from the Government of Canada.
Welcome back to Pocono. Nice to see that Jeffrey Ford with the Ford Entertainment Group has tuned in to the show tonight. Be sure to contact him if you want a custom PC for gaming, sim racing, what have you. He'll get you hooked up. You can find him on Facebook, Ford Entertainment Group, or PM him on the iRacing forums, Jeffrey Ford. Pace car to pit road. We're about to get wild again here in Pocono. Green flag back in the air as we are racing down into turn number 1, and it's Byron Daly with an early lead. And look at David Comstock all over the rear bumper of Jacoby, pushing him to turn 1.
Big battle going into turn number 1 there for the 4th position, I believe, was Standish and Comstock. Comstock staying even with him, even though he's on that lower line, so Comstock doing a good job there.
Might be able to work the bottom line for a lap or two with the fresh tires, but I'd say after a lap or so, Mitch, you want to get to that top side. Top 2 have separated themselves from the pack behind. Jacoby trying to get away from that pack as everybody makes it through the first 2 turns up to speed. And in this big old battle we've got going on from about 4th on back, it's Standish leading Comstock, Coleman, and the rest of the field as they work their way through turn 3.
And a first side-by-side battle is with the number 66 of Sheehan and the 44 of Glenn Campbell. You see them going down the front straightaway, and looks to be the numbers 44 of Glenn Campbell going to come out with the top end of that battle.
Yeah, Campbell takes it for the moment. And up at the front, look at Byron Daly. Mitch, he was all the way against the wall on the front, on the inside wall on the front stretch. He was almost in the grass in the long pond straightaway, trying to keep DeBarro from getting that draft, which is oh so crucial in chasing him down.
Yeah, and you'll see that a lot here with this track. Of course, with the long straightaways, you're going to want to block as much of that draft as possible so they can't get a run down the straightaway. And as you say that, Anthony DeBarro underneath the 08 of Byron Daly. Here's the battle for the lead.
Daly ran wide down in turn number 3, and that allows DeBarro to get to the inside. He can't snake down the straightaway now or he'll turn himself off the nose of the 5. We'll see how hard DeBarro drives it down into turn 1 as the battle for the lead continues to rage on here at Pocono, even after the caution. DeBarro works the bottom, but Daly up top. It's going to shut the door on him for now, and DeBarro having to slide back in the line, at least for the time being.
And Daly drove that thing down in turn number 1. He was at least a car length and a half deeper than Anthony DeBarro. So definitely a little bit of a defensive driving move there by Daly, trying to keep the lead.
Man, oh man, you couldn't script it any better, this racing we have seen so far here tonight as we close in. This time by, it'll be 11 laps until the halfway point of this race, and these guys are just going at it. Look at this battle back here between Chad Coleman and Nigel Standish, and Tommy Ryan's even in the mix there as well, as they were almost 3 wide off turn 3 as they battle into turn number 1. David Comstock wasn't looking so good in the opening run, but Mitch, he's found himself in the 4th spot here after that caution.
Yeah, definitely. And you'll see David Comstock always has a really good long run car. He always knows how to save the tires. So if we can get another long run here, look for David Comstock to make his way to the front and maybe contend for this win.
Just so much to watch here at Pocono. That battle for the leaders, battles all the way around the racetrack as well. You see Steve Sheehan back there. He's closing up on the rear bumper of Glenn Campbell as he's trying to work his way back up through the field after being in. We've got
Caution.
Caution.
Oh, Daly's around.
The leader.
Oh my goodness. Unbelievable.
As he spun off the bumper of Anthony DeBarro.
Oh my goodness.
Contact for the lead, and as the Aussies like to say, major drama.
Major drama is right. As we look at the replay going down into turn number 3 right here, DeBarro half a car length off, but then on exit he closes up and just inadvertently makes contact with Daly, and Daly goes around. And wow. Unfortunately, no contact into the wall or anything for Daly, so his car is fine. So he still has a chance to get his way back to the front and contend for this win, but man, that hinders his chances big time.
My, oh my, are you kidding me? Unbelievable. So the battle for the lead gets a little physical up front and leaves Byron Daly at the tail of the field.
Have you ever been?
Certainly have ever seen. You know, Pocono is one of those tracks that if we were in the NASCAR Monster Energy Cup cars or something, this would be one of the tracks that, you know, a lot of these guys would want to hurry up and get through. It's just not the best of racing. But these guys have taken Pocono Raceway and they have turned it into a combination of pack racing and short track racing all in one. And I don't think you could have asked for a better race here at the Super Speedway. As the leaders head down pit road, DeBarro leads the field down. And we'll see how this all shapes up on the pit road exit, as Jason Jacoby will inherit the second spot, at least for now. We'll see who's going to win the race off pit road, and we'll see if anybody else has any problems on pit road. Remember last time, runner-up Pedro Mojica spun on pit road, and championship contender Nelson Rivera couldn't get in his box correctly. Championship leader Steve Sheehan takes 2 tires, as does a plethora of other other cars.
Wow.
So a handful of drivers going to be on 2 tires here. DeBarro stays in the pits, most likely to serve a penalty, if I'm not mistaken. And we have Jordan Hightower, who stays out completely. Started 26, and he'll be the leader of this race.
Wow. This changes everything, Ben.
Storyline.
Oh man. I mean, for that to happen at this stage in the race, we're 22 laps in, Ben. It's going to be incredibly difficult for Byron Daly to get back to the front in this race, especially if we get a plethora of cautions, like we may see now. You know the saying, cautions breed cautions. So hopefully that doesn't happen. It's just I'm at a loss for words, Ben. I don't even know what to say anymore.
Neither do I. So we're both just perfect time for us to take a quick commercial break, pay some bills, because my oh my, this is a wild one here at Pocono. If you have some friends that aren't tuned in, you better share the link with them, because we're a couple laps away from halfway, and if the end of this race is anything like the first part of it, they are going to be in for a treat. We'll be back from Pocono.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
$1,500 worth of prizes and money up for grabs in the inaugural online Snowball Derby. Be sure to sign up at the simracingnetwork.com/snowball-derby. It is looking to be one of the biggest sim racing events ever hosted on the iRacing service, and we're getting entries daily, almost hourly, so you want to be sure to reserve your favorite number by signing up today.
And what an event that's going to be, Ben. Already over 30 entries for both classes, for both the Snowflake and the Derby, so it's going to be a good show for sure.
That it is. Jordan Hightower, leader of this race, out on older tires. And we're gonna, now this is all unofficial, but we're just giving you an estimated guess rather. Steve Sheehan, Chad Coleman, Nick Silver, drivers on 2 tires, and then Jacoby, Comstock, Ryan, Standish from there on back, all on 4 tires. So this is going to be the first time tonight we've seen a 2-tire stop. Not a lot of laps under that last green flag period, only about 5. But we'll see how the tires are going to shape up as the pace car is down on the pit road. Hightower's back in the gas. We are back underway here at Pocono. An inside line. Boy, they did not get going.
I started with Chad Coleman there on the inside, and like you said, didn't get a good restart there, but we'll see if he can make any ground up here and going into turn number 1.
Coleman works to the inside of Silver. That'll be for the 3rd spot. Silver, though, going to have the advantage off the turn with the high groove. Some 3-wide action in the back of the field. Up front, top 4, tail to nose, and trouble. Crash. Around goes Richard Swavely, and that's Nelson Rivera.
A championship contender, Nelson Rivera. And that is not good for him.
So, luckily, the contact wasn't, it was a pretty big hit, but it was in the door, so hopefully it won't be too severe that will hinder him from completing this race, but nonetheless, caution out for the 3rd time, and just looks like an instance there of drivers wanting a little bit more real estate than what was available off of turn number 1, putting us under caution for the 3rd time here tonight.
And unfortunately there, Ben, Richard Swavely, just an innocent bystander in that one, gets caught up in it. And unfortunately his car is a little bent up. Doesn't look all that bad, but hopefully he can still come out of here with a decent finish.
I mean, to be honest, we've seen these cars at Daytona at the track that, you know, downforce plays probably the biggest role in all of motorsports. We've seen crumpled up cars run at the front. So these guys, just because they've got some dents and dings doesn't mean they're completely out of it. At least for the time being, as we close up on the halfway portion of this race. Jordan Hightower still going to be in the lead. Did not even get to the tunnel turn before the caution flew that time. So really didn't get a feel for how the tires were going to work out. But that stack up on the inside line is going to shake up the field a little bit, as David Comstock has been able to work his way up now to 4th. He's on fresh tires. Nigel Standish, 4 fresh tires in 5th. And you have Coleman in with 2 tires, and Jason Jacoby with 4 fresh tires in 7th. We'll go ahead and look at the top 10 here as Tommy Ryan is back in 8th. Sean Boundy, good run for Boundy, who is in the 9th position, scored right now, and Carl Dodson in 10th.
And I'm looking at the 3rd position right now, Ben. The number 15 of Nick Silver. Nick Silver, he started in the, I believe, the 14th spot tonight. And he has made his way up to 3rd because of all this strategy being played. And not a name that we've talked a whole lot about tonight so far, but definitely a guy to look for later in the race to be there at the end.
Absolutely. In fact, half of the top 10 as they sit right now started 12th or worse in this race. And the driver leading that would be your leader right now, Jordan Hightower. Started way back in 26th. and has made his way to the lead. Steve Sheehan is the driver, has sitting second right now. He started the furthest of all the drivers so far in the top 10. He started up in the 4th position. So it has been a wild race nonetheless, and just to check in on Nelson Rivera, scored 31st last time at the line, and he sits on pit road getting that damage repaired. 35 guys still on the lead lap, the last one being race 1 winner Doug Sigmund in the 06. Well, that's actually, we'll make that 36 drivers on the lead lap, as Nick Hurd has gotten his lap back, and Ryan Nichols did not even take the green flag. So every car that took the green flag tonight, Mitch, still on the lead lap here at Pocono.
And that's unbelievable. If you think about it, Ben, this field is very close on times. They must be, because that first lap, or that first run of the race we had was 20, I believe 20 laps, or somewhere around there, of green flag racing. And no one went a lap down. This field is tight on times.
That they are. As we work, this is the 3rd caution of the night. It's because of contact between your championship contender Nelson Rivera and Richard Swavely over on the Long Pond straightaway just after a restart, as lights are still on here on the iRacing.com Ford Mustang pace car. Perfect time for you to swing on over to Facebook and hit up Jeffrey Ford at the Ford Entertainment Group. All you have to do is search Ford Entertainment Group on Facebook. Let him know your budget, and he will build a computer to your needs. There's no guessing what parts you need. There's no buying a pre-built. You give him your budget, and he will make the computer that suits you. And to be honest, Mitch, that's about the best way. You and I both are into the PC gaming. That's the best possible business motto, the way to do business in the PC building area that it could be done. And Jeff, he does a great job. I mean, you can get a beginner PC, or he can set you up. I'm pretty sure he has the capabilities to get you set up in a motion rig. You just have to contact him, get all the info. He's also the official sponsor of the Ford Entertainment Group K&N Series here at the Sim500 Racing League. He is giving away a computer capable of VR or 3 screens to the to the driver with the most completed laps at the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely, Ben. I'm scrolling through Facebook, and I always see great reviews on this guy. Best prices I've seen out there for what you get for a computer. So definitely head on over to Facebook and check them out, and he will definitely get you set up.
Next week, we back up here from the Pocono Mountains and head to the Lone Star State Texas Motor Speedway, 1.5 miles for 100 laps there. The second 1.5 miles of the season. That should be a good one. These cars on the cookie cutters, Mitch, are always fun to watch. And we heading down to Texas next Tuesday night right here on the Sim Racing Network.
Should be a good show. I always love watching the races at Texas. Never fails to put on some good racing, especially in these cars. Actually, no matter where these cars go, it's always a good show, it seems. Seems like these cars can battle side by side really well, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a good show.
Something I would have never heard you say after last night is you're looking forward to going to Texas.
I enjoy watching Texas, not so much driving Texas. let's just leave it at that. How about that?
If you missed out on the show last night in the TransUnion Cup Series let's try this. Trans Service Monday Money Series. I'll get it out one of these days correctly. Man, you missed a good one. Came down to some fuel strategy, tire strategy, and even had a big one in the mix to make it exciting.
Let's never speak of it again, though, okay?
Works for me. As we get set to go racing, a lot of people ready to get out of Texas. These guys ready to head to Texas, though, next week. But we got to finish this one off first. Just one lap shy of halfway. It'll be 31 laps to go when we get the green flag off of turn number 3. This time by, it's Jordan Hightower in the lead. Remember, he is on the older tires. Steve Sheehan on the 2 tires. Silver on 2 tires. Comstock 4, Standish 4. That's the top 5 as we get set to go back racing here at Pocono. Pace car getting set to head down to pit road. He dips off the racing surface. Jordan Hightower back in the gas. We are back underway here at the Tricky Triangle.
And the 15 of Nick Silver gets not such a great start there. Sliding backwards, David Comstock is going to clear him going into turn number 1. It's going to be Comstock on the bumper of Sheehan, and a few car lengths out in front of them is Hightower in the lead.
Hightower takes an early lead, remember, on the older tires, and look at Sheehan close through turn number 1. He's on the bumper. He turns it left. He says, that may not have been a good idea, Jordan. I'm going to pass you for the lead in the tunnel turn.
And as they go down into the tunnel turn right here, Sheehan will take the lead, Hightower back to second, and David Comstock now will be breathing down the neck of the 50 car, and he's there.
That he is. Comstock the outside. Hightower looked to almost want to perform a crossover on Sheehan, and it may have bit him in the butt as he left that outside open for Comstock on the fresh tires, and Comstock patiently waits the first half of this race. Now once we reach the halfway point, it's where he starts to shine. He starts to come alive, and Comstock is chasing down Sheehan for the lead.
Track is rubbering up, track is heating up. You're going to see some different guys at the front now that the track is changing. It's going to suit some different guys' driving style, and that's why you're seeing Comstock come to the front. And he is on the bumper of Sheehan trying to take the lead.
So the battle for the lead. We also got a battle for the 5th spot. Here comes Jacoby to the inside of Tommy Ryan, trying to get that spot away before they get to turn 3, and he's got it in the tunnel turn, at least for now. Let's focus back through the field, Mitch, for a second, as Byron Daly and Anthony DeBarro working their way back up through the field. Look at them. They're 3 wide. They're splitting at number 12 of Scott Simley down in turn number 3, and that's going to get tight for a minute there, but they're slowly but surely trying to work their way back up through the field. That time by, they are scored, let's see, 16th and 18th respectively.
And definitely you're going to see those guys coming up through the field. I just don't know if they're going to have enough time to get right back to the front bend. They're going to have to pull some tire strategy and, cross their fingers that something doesn't happen. As you see DeBarro pulling away from Daly now, a couple positions ahead of him, and he's looking under the number 8 car of Randy Yoakum for that 14th spot.
But look at all the drivers that Barrow's got to get around, and look how close they get in the tunnel turn. He's got to be patient here, or he'll get himself in trouble as he heads down into turn number 3. Which lane is he going to choose? Does he go? He chooses the middle, at least for now. You see Daly behind him all the way against the curb. He's able to close a little bit of ground on the front stretch here as they race down towards turn number 1 again. Man, oh man, this is a big gaggle of cars right here.
And I gotta say, remember the number 23 of Pedro Mojica on pit road. He made that mistake coming off pit road, spun it around. He is back up to 12th as well, so look for him to come to the field and be there at the end.
Good charge through the field by Mojica as he is looking to the inside of Glenn Campbell there for that. Is about the 10th position. So Mojica trying to crack the top 10 after his problems on the first caution under pit road, and almost contact between the two through the tunnel turn.
Mojica is taking no prisoners right now, Ben. He just wants to get back to the front of the field. And you see right behind him, the 5 of Anthony DeBarro, I think has the same mindset. He knows he has to go right now to be able to make it back to the front.
3 of the fastest drivers in this race, no doubt, all working their way back through the field, 1 car at a time. Mojica, DeBarro, and Daly, and if they ever get back to the front, they're going to be proud, and they're going to be glad to get back up there, as DeBarro is not afraid to use his bumper tonight. He gives Terrell a shot off of turn number 1, but if these guys get back to the front, you can rest assured they're going to give everything they got to take the lead.
And speaking of bumper, you got to remember what that 5 of DeBarro did to Byron Daly. As Byron Daly now right behind him, does Daly think revenge here, Ben, or does he think, no, I'm just going to keep it clean, I'm just going to get by DeBarro and go for that win?
Well, the caution will hinder me from answering that question as we search around the racetrack, not certain who the cause of that was. But nonetheless, fourth caution of the night here at Pocono Raceway. And it was Steve Sheehan who was able to hold on to the lead for the time being over David Comstock. Chad Coleman and Jason Jacoby made his way up to the fourth position. Now these guys, I'm pretty sure Mitch's going to come down and take 4 fresh tires, although, however, only 5 laps on that run. It seemed a whole lot longer than that. 5 laps. Do we see maybe some of these guys that took 4 on the prior stop take 2 here?
I think there's a possibility that maybe those guys that got mired back in the field, such as Pedro Mojica, Anthony Navarro, Byron Daly, maybe they take 2 tires, try and pull some strategy here to get some track position back. Because I don't believe if they don't pull any kind of strategy, that I don't know if they're going to be able to get back to the front. So I think they're going to have to try something here.
We'll see if the dice is thrown on pit road, and we'll see if any gambles are taken. We'll let you know what happens right after this. You're watching Sim500 action live from Pocono Raceway on the Sim Racing Network. We'll be back just in time for the restart.
All right, Watson, let's analyze the chemicals in this cigarette smoke. Cadmium? Check. Formaldehyde? Check. Arsenic?
Sir, isn't arsenic what they used in rat poison?
Yeah, isn't arsenic what they use in rat poison?
Oh, what was I thinking, sir? It's not like we're gonna smoke them.
Neither will the rats.
Tobacco is no joke. Cigarette smoke has over 7,000 chemicals. Learn more at thefactsnow.com.
Ever dreamed of being paid? Can you see yourself delivering a... Dare to be extraordinary with the Canadian Armed Forces. Apply for one of over 100 full and part-time careers and acquire sought-after skills and training that will serve you everywhere. A message from the Government of Canada.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
It has been a dandy of an event here at the Pocono Raceway, the Tricky Triangle, and Ryan Howard is going to add his name to the list of leaders here tonight and the list of gamblers tonight as well. He stays out on older tires. He started 13th in this race. We just haven't mentioned him a lot here tonight, Mitch, but he's going to lead us back to the green flag alongside championship leader Steve Sheehan. Another driver we were talking about maybe making a gamble on those around the pit stops, Byron Daly. He does take the gamble, and he takes 2 tires. That puts him up to 3rd. Jordan Hightower will restart 4th. 5th to Chad Coleman. Tommy Ryan 6th. Jason Jacoby 7th. David Comstock slid through his pit box and slowed his time down in the pits. He'll restart 8th. Nick Silver 9th, and Carl Dodson restarts that makes Carl Dodson will round out the top 10 rather as we get set for the restart. And good to see Carl Dodson on the simulator here, and then Sim500 action. A local racer to me down here on the Gulf Coast. I grew up watching him race the pure stock division and stuff at the local dirt track. So always good to see a local driver competing here in Sim500 action. Ryan Howard going to lead us to the green flag here at Pocono, Mitch, and again, it didn't really work out for Hightower on the old tires, so we'll see if Ryan Howard is able to do anything with those older tires as we get set to go down in turn number 3.
Yeah, I think Ryan Howard's going to look for a quick caution here, maybe in a few laps, maybe come down and grab 2 tires with the rest of the field and maybe equalize out a little bit, but you never know, it might work out to his favor here.
See what happens. 22 laps to go when we get the green flag here at Pocono. Pace car to pit road. He slows them way down. That's going to cause almost a stack up at the back of the field. Nonetheless, though, everybody gets through the gears, at least for now, pretty good. Turn number 1 will be a different story as we race down towards it right now.
And Byron Daly with a heck of a restart. Looks like he might get around the number 66 of Steve Sheehan here. Oh, and as I say that, they go 3 wide in turn number 1.
Look at Daly. Puts the door to Steve Sheehan, trying to take the lead back. He got spun from the lead just a handful of laps ago, and he is wanting it back in his possession, and he'll dive it side by side with the championship leader heading down into the tunnel turn. Look at this, 2 by 2 by 2. It looks like we're stacked up for a restart still.
Unbelievable, and look back at the number 4 spot, Ben. The number 42 of David Comstock went 8th to 4th on that restart. How did he do that?
I don't know, and he's not done yet because he's closing up on the rear bumper of that number 33 machine, as they go down the front stretch. He is pushing Howard into turn number 1 around the outside of Daly. Comstock up to 3rd in a lap.
And here he goes. He's going to go for a 2nd down into turn number 1. Off of turn number 1 now. He clears him with ease. And now he's going to focus. Oh, no.
The Barrow is up on the wall. Oh, what a terrible crash. This is the big one at Pocono.
Wow. That is all I have to say about that. Wow. What a massive crash.
We kind of hoped wouldn't happen. But it was in the back of our mind, knowing how close this field was and how racy they've been, and that was just an instant there of, again, one driver going for more real estate than was available. DeBarro gets into Tommy Ryan, and then they go into the wall. DeBarro up on the wall, and then Ryan gets hit by a couple of cars and gets sent upside down. A wild one here at Pocono.
Wow. That was a massive crash, and that took out a lot of good cars that were mired back there. It started with the 5 of Anthony DeBarro, just made contact with that 99, and then big junk.
My oh my. 2 drivers that were around that, notably making it through, Pedro Majica and Jason Jacoby. And anybody after that, it's up in the air. As, man, oh man, it looks like Nelson Rivera, the driver who come into tonight 2nd in the championship standings, looks like he will, for the most part, make it through unscathed. And He'll still be at the back of the field, though. He was a little bit further back on that restart to begin with, still repairing some of the damage on the left side of that machine. So I kind of kept him out of it. But a big one here at Pocono on lap number 40, as we are definitely inside go time, and these guys know it.
They definitely know it, Ben. I mean, these guys are going to start pushing the envelope even more than they already have this race. You've seen right from the green flag, these guys have been hungry. They've been wanting to go to the front, but now they really want to go to the front. You're seeing it, especially with Comstock on that restart, as Comstock leads a lot of the field down pit road. Oh, and they just faked him out. So it's going to be Steve Sheehan out front, who chooses to stay out, and probably about half the field behind him comes in.
Very mixed emotions there. On this round of pit stops, only about 7 cars stay out. Those 7 cars being Steve Sheehan, Chad Coleman, Jordan Hightower, Glenn Campbell, Jason Jacoby, Pedro Majica, Nick Silver, and Steve Goulet.
The race off of pit road looks like Comstock got him, and this changes everything. This puts a huge wrench in things. I've said this changes everything about 10 times this race because there's been so many things that have been race changing. It's unbelievable.
This is just, I mean, the amount of storyline. I don't think Days of Our Lives has this many storylines in a year like we've seen tonight here in Pocono. Man, oh man. But let's talk about Steve Sheehan. This dude right here qualified 4th. He dropped back all outside of the top 10, at 13th at one point in this race, I do believe. You know, just riding, just letting people go, letting people race, doing his own thing, and then here we are, 18 laps to go in this thing, and he's leading the deal. And he's, he's on older tires, but only a lap or 2 older than most of the other guys around him. So, I mean, Steve Sheehan, there's a reason why he's a championship leader, and if all goes as planned, he'll leave Pocono tonight with the lead again over Nelson Rivera, who is still sitting back in 22nd after a early incident around the midway point of this race.
Doesn't matter where we go, what type of track we're at, Ben, the same thing happens. We always see that 66 car at the front or near the front at the end of these things. And like you said, that's why he's leading the points. And he's got a good margin on Nelson Rivera now to even if something were to happen to him tonight, to Sheehan that is, it probably wouldn't affect him all that much. So Sheehan's sitting really good for the championship lead right now, and Rivera hopefully can make some ground up through the field, although his car looking like it's seen better days.
Certainly has, but speaking of Rivera, after a couple of drivers coming to pit road and everything cycles out, he's now scored 15th, so not near as bad as 22nd, but not close to where he wanted to be after qualifying, just one position behind Sheehan. You know, Rivera probably thought he coming to tonight with a chance to maybe get by Sheehan, gain some points on him, and then he gets involved in the incident, but well, we're talking about Sheehan's going to leave with a big lead. This race is not over yet, Mitch. We have seen the leader get spun. We've seen the big one. We've seen just about everything tonight here at Pocono Raceway, and I don't want to put any nails in any coffins until the checkered flag is flown and this race is official.
Yeah, that's kind of the broadcaster's curse type thing. I know it's happened to me as a driver before where I'll be leading a race and broadcaster talks about me, and imagine that. I'm 34th on the record, so I'm just going to shut my mouth for the rest of the race. You go ahead. You can say all you want. I ain't open my mouth again.
So no predictions is what you're saying.
That is correct.
Anthony DeBarro, Tommy Ryan, Michael Priester, drivers that have all put behind a wall here at Pocono Raceway after that most recent crash. 2 of those drivers were upside down for a brief moment on the Long Pond straightaway. Let's hope we don't see any more of that as they turn the lights off atop the iRacing.com Ford Mustang pace car and all the way around the triangular-shaped super speedway here in Pocono. It's going to be another exciting restart. Steve Sheehan, Chad Coleman, Jordan Hightower, Glenn Campbell, Jason Jacoby. That's the top 5 as we get set for the restart here at Pocono. 16 laps to go on the lap board, Mitch. These guys slowly but surely starting to run out of time, and the anticipation is heating up in the seats of these race cars.
It definitely is, Ben. You've seen, like I said, all throughout this race, there's been crazy moves being made to get to the front of the field, no matter what time of the race. But now you're definitely going to see desperation out of these guys. You're going to see the need to get to the front instead of the want to go to the front. And hopefully we don't see any more cautions, because you've seen when we get some green flags in there, or green flag laps in there, that this thing gets exciting and it heats up and it's insane.
$1,200 up for grabs in the inaugural online Snowball Derby. Be sure to sign up today on the simracingnetwork.com/snowball-derby. You can like us on Facebook, the Sim Racing Network, to stay up to date with all the latest. Got some pretty exciting news coming out pertaining to the Snowball Derby over the course of the next week. Lights off on the pace car. Steve Sheehan, your leader. Chad Coleman to the outside. Restarts have been crucial here tonight, taking off down this long straightaway. So we'll see who gets the good jump here. They stack them up 2 by 2 by 2. Flag is back in the air. We're back underway, and a good restart. Coleman there, and better start for Hightower. The inside line as they'll go side by side for second down into 1.
Down into turn number 1, you see Hightower in that 20 car of Chad Coleman battled it out for second place, and looks like Coleman having the high line is going to be good for him. He's got the run off of the corner, and we'll see if he can clear him down into the tunnel turn.
Tom Stockett, HCN side, Pedro Mejica trying to work his way back into the top 5. Comstock down low through the tunnel turn. Here comes Stock, 5.
Caution is out here at Pocono Raceway. See if we can find where that's at.
So not sure the cause of that caution. Looks like it could be. Oh, there was a big one. Nelson Rivera involved, and that'll pretty much end his chance of walking out of the night with any gainage on Sheehan. Another big one off the tunnel turn, as a handful of drivers involved, 6, 7, 8 cars.
And we'll get the replay up here shortly, Ben, but that is a heartbreaker for Nelson Rivera. He was making a good comeback from that contact earlier that he made, and looks like this is gonna pretty much end his night.
So it looks like Lockhart just kind of going up the track. Maybe Rivera pinching him down a little bit. Just a racing deal there as they make hard contact with that outside retaining wall off of turn number 2, and Lockhart goes for a tumble down the short chute, bringing out the caution yet again here at Pocono.
Yeah, that's, like I said, just unfortunate for Nelson Rivera, but nothing really too crazy happening there. Just two guys battling hard for a position, and unfortunately, Rivera getting a piece of that, and hopefully can still pick up a few positions here at the end of the race, but not looking good for Rivera.
What is looking good for is Steve Sheehan, who continues to lead this race. And everybody going to stay out on this round of pit stops. Just didn't even get a lap in after that most previous caution. It's going to be less than about 10 to go when we get the green flag for what could be one of the final restarts of the night. You don't want to miss it. It'll be right after this. You're watching Sim500 action from Pocono.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Ever dreamed of being paid to dive? Think you can handle the heat of cooking for hundreds of brave troops? Could you deploy a sophisticated communication network in some of the remotest corners of the planet? Can you see yourself delivering essential healthcare in a state-of-the-art portable clinic? Would you like to pull off intense workouts and a paid education? Or execute a precision landing just in time to save a life? Perhaps you'd prefer to master cutting-edge electronic systems in the middle of the ocean. Dare to be extraordinary with the Canadian Armed Forces. Apply for one of over 100 full and part-time careers and acquire sought-after skills and training that will serve you everywhere. A message from the Government of Canada.
Welcome back to the Pocono Mountains here on the Sim Racing Network. You're watching Sim500 Ford Entertainment Group K&N Series action from the tricky triangle, and tricky it has been for a lot of drivers tonight. 2 big ones, and just an absolute joust for the lead is the only word I can even think of to describe the battles we have seen tonight. I mean, these guys have just been going at it like it is the last lap every lap.
Something new happens in the lead every 5 laps or so, Ben, and I forget what happened 20, 30, 40 laps ago. And it's unbelievable the action that we've had this race. It's lots of fun to watch for sure.
If you're taking notes, let's just say you've got a notebook full so far, and we're still 11 laps from the finish of this one. So here we go, set to go back under the green flag conditions. This could be the final restart of the night, and if your drivers like, say, Pedro Mejica back in that 9th position, Byron Daly to the outside of him in 10th, Mitch, you've got to make up as many positions on this restart in order to set you up in those final green flag laps to the finish.
You definitely do, but you don't want to burn your tires up in the first 5 laps or so in case it does go green, because then you're going to be in trouble.
Oh boy, anything can happen. We'll find out what does. 11 laps to go at Pocono Raceway. Pace car to pit road. Sheehan is back in the gas. We're back underway.
And Sheehan rather got a big jump on the start there. Everyone else was, I think, asleep at the wheel. And Comstock, look at him making it 3 wide on the top, going down into turn number 1.
Good grief, there was a room for just a car up there, and he certainly took it, and it might bite him here as he gets the run off of turn number 1. Pedro Mejica there to the inside. Byron Daly up in the mix, making it 3 wide. Now we're 3 by 3 there for a brief second as Jacoby's in that battle with Mejica as well. Look at this. This is going to be real tight into the tunnel turn. 3 wide. My goodness.
2 wide. 2 wide into the tunnel turn is hard enough, let alone 3 wide. I mean, those guys have got nerves of steel to be able to do that, Ben. Down in turn number 3 here. You look at the number 15 of Nick Silver, and the number 99, sorry, that is the 33 of Ryan Howard battling it out.
We said Daly was going to have to go for it, and I think 3 wide to the tunnel turn is classified as going for it. He's up to 8th. Comstock with that big bold move on the restart there. That dropped him back to 7th, though, as Pedro Mejica 6th. Jason Jacoby has cracked at the top 5, and there's a car sideways in the back in the grass. He stays straight, and we stay green.
And here comes David Comstock underneath the number 23 of Pedro Mejica through that tunnel turn. Will Mejica be able to get the run off? Yes, it looks like he'll be able to. And now to the outside of the 42 will be Byron Daly, so he'll have that preferred line going into turn number 3.
Man, you got to clear the guy in the tunnel turn, or you have messed up the next 2 laps of your run. And Comstock has done just that. I thought he was going to pull up in front of Daly, chooses better of it as Daly gets to the outside of that number 42 machine. Here comes Jason Jacoby looking to work his way up to the 4th spot as Steve Sheehan has opened up a 10-car length lead over Jordan Hightower.
And I do believe Sheehan with a little bit fresher tires than Hightower, if I'm not mistaken. But nonetheless, look at Sheehan going down low on the front back or on the long pond straightaway, trying to break that draft from the cars behind so they can't catch up to him on the straightaways.
By far one of the biggest leads we've seen of the night. I mean, the biggest lead prior to this was 3-4 car lengths, and this is only 10 car lengths right now, but still the biggest one so far of the night. Jason Jacoby makes a mistake over on the back portion of the racetrack, and that slides him back. He'll drop outside of the top 5, moving Pedro Mejica inside the top 5. Daly up to 6th, and the battle will be for 7th between Jacoby and Comstock heading down into turn number 1. That's the first battle on the racetrack.
Comstock down low, Jacoby up high. Looks like Comstock might pull off the pass on the inside there, Ben.
You really set yourself up good once you get through one on the inside and continue to stay side by side with that driver heading into the tunnel turn. If he clears him here in the tunnel turn, he's going to be good. But Jacoby fights back. Comstock gets the curb, gets loose. Oh, and one car into the wall, and they save it. That was Ryan Howard that got the wall. Everybody did a great job getting around him. Nigel Standish and Nick Silver. We stay green, coming to 7 laps to go here at Pocono.
And Ryan Howard did an outstanding job keeping that thing up against the wall up there so no one hit him, no one ran into him, and we didn't get a caution. That's why we're still green here at Pocono, and we're going to have a good battle for the win here in the final laps.
Pedro Mejica to the inside of Glenn Campbell for the 4th spot. Oh, did they get ever so
Oh, Mejica's loose.
Mejica sideways. Saves it.
Wow.
My goodness.
That only took him about 10 seconds total to save.
Oh, man, I almost ran out of breath waiting for him to do so. That drops him back. He'll fall almost outside of the top 10 with that big slide. But, man, you got to give it to him. That was a heck of a save.
I don't know how many times he turned that wheel back and forth, Ben, but it had to have been about 10. I mean, he was saving that thing for a good 10 seconds.
He was, and he'll begin his march back through the field as he's working on challenging Standish. Gives Standish a big bump down the front stretch. He'll be scored 10th at the line. right there. So, yet again, things change up front.
On board with Sheehan right now. Going to be looking out the back of Sheehan's car. There you see the 50 of Jordan Hightower behind him. Sheehan goes low down the straightaway, and as does Hightower, trying to get that draft off of him.
Closing in on the 5 lap to go mark this time by, and we're shaping up to that point of the race where if we have a caution, it could end this thing. So Hightower doing everything he can to close in on Sheehan, and he's doing just that.
He is closing in very quickly, Ben. We're still looking out the back of Sheehan's car right now, and you can visually see the closing rate from Hightower as he will again follow him down to the bottom of the track to try and get that draft.
Boy, back at the back, or not at the back, rather, Nelson Rivera really shook up Byron Daly and David Comstock off turn 4. There was contact between all 3 of those cars. They saved it, and we stay green. But nonetheless, back up front, it's now 5 to go, less than 5 to go. Here comes Jordan Hightower closing in on Sheehan, and Hightower has got Chad Coleman all over his rear bumper. He gives him a shove down the long pond stretch.
And you can definitely see some desperation from the 50 of Hightower and 20 of Coleman bump drafting down the straightaway now, trying to catch the leader, trying to do everything that they can to try and compete for a win here.
I think if they get within 5 car lengths, the draft is going to be big enough to suck them right back up to the rear bumper of Sheehan. Here we go, 4 laps to go, and it's now that moment of the race where if the caution comes out, it's going to be over. Byron Daly had a big wiggle off of turn number 3. He continues to fall back on the straightaway. So a bad break for Daly ever since that spin. Has not been able to get back up to the front. Remember, he was leading the first quarter of this race, got spun from the lead, and has not been able to work his way back through the field like he planned. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead, not so much a battle right now as it is a chase. Hightower trying to chase Sheehan down.
And looking at the ticker, Ben, the lead keeps going up, then going down, going up, then going down. Everyone is running different lines right now, running different braking points, different points where they get back on the throttle. That's why that ticker is going back and forth right now. Everyone faster at different parts of the racetrack, but it looks like Steve Sheehan pulling out to a bigger lead here, just about 0.7 of a second here.
3 laps to go. Byron Daly is 3 wide at the... Oh, man, and Nigel Standish got a piece of the wall at the end of the straightaway there. This is the biggest battle on the racetrack as they race. That's for around the 8th position, as these guys are duking it out for every position possible.
And I'm not sure where he got it, Ben, but there is massive damage on the nose of that 42 car of David Comstock. I don't know if it happened on the restart or if I just missed something, but definitely heavy damage on that car.
That was the incident with Rivera, the lap machine, off of turn 3, and it kind of slowed him up there, and that's where he got the damage from as well. Chad Coleman has worked his way to the inside of Hightower, coming to the line this time by Steve Sheehan. We'll get the popsicle sticks. 2 laps to go at the tricky triangle.
And the biggest battle right now that I'm looking at, Ben, is between that 20 of Coleman and the 50 of Hightower. Going down into turn number 1 here, Hightower is on the bumper of that 20 car, trying to get back to second.
That he is, but Coleman had had enough of riding behind the 50 machine, and Coleman said, I'm going to try and chase down Sheehan for myself, but I think Sheehan has too big a lead, over a second, and all he's got to do is make just 1.5 more clean laps around the tricky triangle, and he'll have another one wrapped up here in Sim500 action. Coleman doing everything he can, but I think he's going to run out of time.
The early stage of the season, Ben, has been all Sheehan. He has been dominant. He has been at the front at the end of all of these races, and like I said earlier, that is why he's the points leader. And it looks like it's 1 lap to go. As long as he doesn't make a big mistake here, it's going to be Sheehan's to lose.
Final lap here at Pocono Raceway. Down into turn number 1, Sheehan, we thought that he may have a challenge from the 2nd position in these closing laps, but he has proved that he knows how to do the long runs. He has continued to pull away from these guys, and he leads the field for the final time through the tunnel turn. Down the short chute, Sheehan, we talked about it midway through this race. First half of the race, we didn't talk much of him. He'd fallen outside of the top 10, but when it was go time, he made his way through the field, played a little strategy, takes the lead, and never looks back. Steve Sheehan extends the championship lead and wins at Pocono.
And what a run it was from Sheehan. He wasn't up front all race, but he was up front when it mattered, Ben, and he comes out of Pocono victorious.
Sheehan victorious. Chad Coleman, a good run for the number 20 machine. Jordan Hightower comes home third. Glenn Campbell fourth, and Comstock rallies for a top 5. We'll talk to Sheehan and the rest of the top 3 right after this. From Pocono, you're watching the Sim500 on the Sim Racing Network.
Ever dreamed of being paid to dive? Think you can handle the heat of cooking for hundreds of brave troops? Could you deploy a sophisticated communication network in some of the remotest corners of the planet? Can you see yourself delivering essential healthcare in a state-of-the-art portable clinic? Would you like to pull off intense workouts and a paid education? Or execute a precision landing just in time to save a life? Perhaps you'd prefer to master cutting-edge electronic systems in the middle of the ocean. Dare to be extraordinary with the Canadian Armed Forces. Apply for one of over 100 full and part-time careers and acquire sought-after skills and training that will serve you everywhere. A message from the Government of Canada.
All right, Watson, let's analyze the chemicals in this cigarette smoke. Cadmium? Check. Formaldehyde? Check. Arsenic?
Sir, isn't arsenic what they used in rat poison?
Yeah, isn't arsenic what they used in rat poison?
Oh, what was I thinking, sir? It's not like we're gonna smoke them.
Neither will the rats.
Tobacco is no joke. Cigarette smoke has over 7,000 chemicals. Learn more at thefactsnow.com.
Welcome back to Pocono Raceway after a absolutely phenomenal race here at in race number 5 in the Sim500 Ford Entertainment Group K&N Series. Man, oh man, battles all night long, and just couldn't have asked for a better show here at the Tricky Triangle. We're gonna send it down to Mitch Rollo, who has caught up with the driver who finished in second tonight. Come up just a little short in that final run, but a good run nonetheless, Mitch.
Yeah, Chad, good run for you tonight at Pocono. Saw you come and go a little bit, but you were at the front at the end when it mattered. Tell me about your race.
Yeah, we had a pretty good race. Track position for this car here was really important because it's hard to pass on the bottom. And right there at the end, I was just sitting there talking to Steve. I was trying to work together with Jordan to see if I could push him up to Steve, and we started making some headway right there, and then we both messed up, and Steve got away from us, and that was pretty much the end of it. Steve's hard to catch. He's really good. He used to be even better. So if he ever gets back to where he was, there ain't nobody over here gonna beat him.
Yeah, we definitely see Sheehan has been good the last few weeks, and definitely the top line I saw was dominant throughout most of the race. But were you able to make the bottom work at all throughout the race, or was it all top?
No, it was all top. The only way you were gonna pass on the bottom is you just really had to just drive it really hard to the center and try to slide somebody, and that was really it. One, you wouldn't get hardly anything done. You had to if you tried to pass anybody in one, you had to do it on the top, and then if you didn't clear them by the tunnel turn, just kind of try to hang on the right rear, and then you could get them in three because the bottom in three didn't work at all.
Mic on.
So it was kind of a groove. It was a one groove racetrack for the most part, but I mean it was fun. The K&N car in this game is probably the best oval car we've got right now, and it'd be nice if it had about another 100 horsepower.
Yeah, definitely was a really good second place run for you, Chad. Who do you have to thank?
Thank the league, everything they do over here, Joey, Wetzel, all those guys that put this on. Thank you guys for broadcasting. Thank JDR Graphics, JD Laird for the paint scheme like always, and thank Jordan Hightower for being fast, because usually if he sucks, I suck, and if he's decent, I'm decent. We're kind of, I don't know how that works, but I guess we lived on the same creek together at some time.
Ben, that was your second place finisher, Chad Coleman. Thanks, Chad.
User was moved out of your channel.
Man, oh man, if Jordan's fast, I'm fast. Wish it was that way all the time. Mitch Rolo walking down pit road is going to catch up with the driver of the number 50, who maybe had where did he come from award tonight. Started 26 and ends up on the podium. Jordan Hightower, Mitch.
Jordan, we definitely a good run for you here today. How did you come from 23rd and finish 3rd here tonight? Tell me about your race.
Moved up pretty quick. Started 26, I think it was, and got up to 15th or so within the first 5-6 laps. I was kind of stuck there because I wasn't able to get any draft off the group in front of me. Ended up playing some pit strategy and stayed out on one of the cautions and didn't fall back too far, and that got me in a position to stay up toward the front.
Yeah, definitely, and we saw that the high line was fairly dominant tonight. Were you able to make anything work on the bottom, or were you in the same boat as most of the other guys where the only place you could really pass or do anything is on the top?
Yeah, with the lack of power these cars have, you did not want to be anywhere close to the bottom. It was mostly a high side game except for in turn 2.
Yeah, it's definitely what we saw from up here as well. Jordan, congratulations on your 3rd place run. Who do you have to thank for it?
I don't really have anybody, just the guys back on TeamSpeak. Chad helped me out a lot at the end of the race, and that's pretty much it.
Ben, as your 3rd place finisher, Jordan Hightower. Thanks, Jordan.
Thanks, guys.
All the way from 26 to 30. Definitely one of the bigger movers of the night. Now let's talk with Steve Sheehan in the Old School Graphics and Designs Victory Lane tonight here at Pocono Raceway. And man, oh man, we don't get tired of seeing this guy up front. Great guy, and puts it in Victory Lane here tonight. Steve Sheehan, unbelievable run here at Pocono Raceway. Some awesome battles. You dodged a couple of crashes there on an up and, well, not really an up and down race. You dropped outside the top 10 maybe once tonight, but for the most part, inside the top 5, not leading this thing. Man, oh man, talk about this race.
Hey guys, yeah, it was a good race. Wasn't sure what to expect. I felt in practice it was going to be kind of a single groove. If you were going to make a pass and everybody's running high, you were going to need to get a good run on somebody through one and be inside of them into the tunnel. But the race was good. I knew right off the start that I didn't want to be in all that mess. Everybody was racing really hard. So I just dropped back to about 10th, right about where I was at Homestead too. And I knew if there was a chance I was gonna do the 2-tire strategy on a pit stop, and it worked out perfectly because we got a caution when I thought about doing that strategy, and Once I got track position, I just tried to keep it, and we caught a couple late yellows that kept me up there.
Unofficially leaving tonight at Pocono, you'll have a 128-point lead over second place now Mike Kelly. Heading into Texas, does that give you an opportunity, kind of just sit back, relax, or are you still going to go out there and attack and try and just win every race from here on out?
I think any racer wants to lead every lap and win every race and get every pole. So I can't not say that, but it's very difficult for me to go out and race really hard very early on, just like last week, just like this week.
Charge complete.
I was letting people go, until I saw something that I could really take advantage of. So I'll probably be doing the same thing until I get really comfortable with the car and racing around everybody. I'm still kind of getting some seat time and getting more and more comfortable. Still a little rusty, but as I get more comfortable, I'll be more aggressive.
Chad Coleman said if you get back to as good as you were a couple years ago, everybody's going to be in trouble. And I think that's a good thing to hear. Steve Sheehan, victory lane tonight here at Pocono. Who you want to thank for putting you here?
I want to thank you guys. Want to thank everybody that helps this league run. I know I haven't really been a part of this league for more than this series, which is now a few weeks, but they take everything serious, and they discipline these guys, myself included. And the track change tonight was, shows that, and definitely got to thank Jeff Ford. He doesn't get enough thank yous from guys in these races, and it's a big deal to really put up a custom computer for a sim racing league, especially an entry-level sim racing league. It's a big deal. So got to thank him for sure. And hopefully it's a good race at Texas next week.
We'll see you there, Steve. Congrats on your win tonight here at Pocono.
Thanks, guys.
Steve Sheehan from fourth to the win tonight here in the Tricky Triangle. Mitch, and man, oh man. This guy, he finishes up front. We talked to him. He says, I still got some learning to do.
If that's the case, Ben, like Coleman said, these guys are in trouble. We've seen him week in and week out so far this year just absolutely dominate these races, especially at the end of them. And if he puts everything together, we're going to see soon enough he's going to be leading every lap as well as winning a lot of races. So definitely a scary thought for the rest of the field for sure, Ben, that this guy is just shaking the rust off.
Absolutely. Let's look at the final finishing results from Pocono Raceway. Steve Sheehan comes home with the win. Chad Coleman, Jordan Hightower round out your podium. Glenn Campbell is 4th, 5th to David Comstock. Nick Silver comes home 6th, 7th to Byron Daly. Jason Jacoby 8th, 9th to Scott Simley from 28th there. So a good run from Scott, and Pedro Majica fell back to 10th there on the final lap. The rest of the field going to scroll across your screen though as we get set to close it out here from Pocono. Mitch, we head to Texas next week, so that ought to be a fun one there in the Lone Star State. Back to another mile and a half. We had a great race at Homestead on the last mile and a half last week. Texas next week for 100 laps. Any final thoughts tonight though here from Pocono?
Today we saw a lot of aggressive driving from guys, trying to get to the front early, not wanting to wait, but we also saw from guys like Steve Sheehan a lot of patience, a lot of waiting for the herd to thin out, so to speak, and just waiting for the right time to strike, and definitely looks to be paying dividends for Sheehan as he ticks off another win here in the Sim500 Ford Entertainment Group K&N Series.
That he does. It was an unbelievable race from Pocono. And it was action-packed from green to checkered. We hope you enjoyed the show. We look forward to seeing you next Tuesday night right here on the Sim Racing Network. For everyone at the Sim500 and for all of us here at the Sim Racing Network, we wish you a great week. Remember when you're out there to put the phone down. Rich Rollo, I am Ben Kilcrease. Good night from Pocono.